Morning, everybody. It is 8:37 a.m., February 19th. These markets don't know what they want to do. We continue to be in this flux. Yesterday, it looked like, oh my God, we're going to break out. That failed. We got Middle East tensions. Crude is up 2%. Okay, VIX is back up over 20. So this market, what's happening right now is sellers can't get too much momentum to the downside. The buyers tried. In a strong market, this should have ripped higher because internals were super strong. Excuse me. Internals were super strong. Super strong. And this market, good morning, Mark. This market, okay, is giving you so many mixed signals. Now, yesterday, that's a day where I looked for a pullback to get long. Those internals were very beefy. Money was flowing into the market. Okay. The only deterrent, and I talked about this when I was live in my Discord, was the daily chart. I said, oh boy, if it wasn't for that daily chart, this market should be ripping. But the 50-day moving average is in the way. The 20-day moving average is in the way. The 90 MA daily was in the way. You had a monthly level in the QQQ and Nasdaq futures, which is in the way. And I was like, man, because you stayed up in that region at the highs for, let's see, about 2 hours, 3 hours, almost 3.5 hours. And I was like, I even said to my community when we swept the highs, and that was around 1 o'clock, I said this could fall back down. But here's the thing. Internals were so strong that part of my system is I don't fight those. So I did get a long in, and it went in my favor, and then I got stopped. Right? So I went with my system, and that's what's hard about trading because typically that's always a long. Okay? Typically that's always a long. But the daily chart was telling me how much room is really left and I kept saying that to my room. And this is not this is not hard to read because I'm reading it, meaning there's mixed signals. Really bullish internals. Tech is leading, but we're running into a daily chart that's saying and then all it took was one push lower. All the longs got caught. Okay? All right, so let's get into it. Welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. Use market profile and buy from to find structure of the market. Along supply and demand, gamma exposed levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That is my edge. Also use my market internals as my bread and butter. Weekly expected move indicator you can get for free on my Discord. Anchor View Ops, ICT. All right, that's how I give you guys the game plans every day. All right, now hopefully you join me every morning. Subscribe, set that alert. Give you the market story, the market news, technical analysis, and I give you the long and short trade scenarios of the Nasdaq and ES futures. All right. If you want more in-depth coverage, you're going to join my Discord, Confluence Trading. Okay. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. I will not steer you wrong. And a lot of the things that I say, right? Ooh, I don't like that daily chart. I don't like this, right? I didn't have any trades because I was like, man, normally, like that was like that. And whenever you do that, it's probably a good time to step away, right? It's a good time to step away because you want markets when there's a low-hanging fruit. Now, I did try a scalp short, But I went to break even right away because of those bullish internals. Now, if I just put my stop at the high day, I would have had a beautiful short on my hands, right? But again, I only did that scalp because I was like, I know this market could rip up. So basically, what I'm saying yesterday was not an easy day to have confidence in the way I trade. All right, either way. Okay. Now let's go into futures. All right, the VIX is back up 3.62%. So this is staying over 20. Expect some volatility. All right, I have to see right now where the gamma flip points are. All right, to see if we're negative gamma again, because that's been moving. All right, crude. Crude is up 2.24% with tensions rising in the Middle East. Okay, that is not good for markets. Crude, if it catches a bid, it's not good. Oil gets more expensive. Okay, oil is that liquid gold. It's in everything. Silver is up 0.70. 10-year yield is up. The dollar is up. Interesting, the dollar is up and metals are up. Gold up 0.12. 30-year bonds being sold. Dow's down 0.30. The ES is down 0.32. Nasdaq down 0.40. Russell is down 0.42. Bitcoin just Bitcoin's dying. I don't mean dying like going down, but it's just holding this level. Okay, it's getting ready for a big move, up or down, who knows? All right, it's down almost 0.5%. Ethereum's down 1%. Moving on to the Max 7 Plus now. Leader is AMD. AMD had a rough day yesterday. Okay, they are up 0.24. That's nothing. We're gonna go only to the half percenters. That's JP Morgan is down 0.60. Google is down 0.61. 0.64. Apple down 0.62. Meta is down 0.67. Broadcom's down 0.75. Tesla's down 0.85. Okay. Moving on to the top sectors here. There you go. Exxon, with the crude being up 1.54. Chevron up 1.38. Walmart. Whoa. Walmart just went positive. Interesting. Walmart was down almost 3% earlier. They reported earnings. Okay? I don't know what just happened, but they're up now. Interesting. Who else is down? Palantir, down 1.63%. Moving on to sectors. Energy's your leader. Up 1.37, not a surprise there. Okay? Now, your heavyweights are all down. Discretionary, it's your Amazon, your Tesla, your Home Depot down 0.44. Technology down 0.46. That's your Microsoft, Nvidia, Apple. Okay. Financials, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Berkshire Hathaway down 0.5%. Semiconductors, which is inside technology. Of course, that's your AMD, your Nvidia. Okay. Your Broadcom. So, what moves our markets is all down. Does that change when the market opens? Maybe. Okay. Let's go to the morning prep. All right. So, if anybody's been using the OpenClaw or AI agent from Claude, it's friggin' amazing. All right. Amazing. And a little side note, I use AI all the time. Oh, ChatGPT, Copilot, Grok. Who else I use? Gemini. I've used all of them. And they serve their purpose. Grok's really good, helped me code scripts and stuff like that. Automate a lot of stuff for myself. But this is the next level. All right, OpenClaw is the next level because it's my assistant. It's my AI agent. It's my own personal assistant. Now, little side note before I go on. If anybody's going to dive into this, and I'm trying to nail this thing to help me out with my community in Discord, there's a lot of ups and downs, especially when I want to get certain news, certain prices, certain this, certain that with the bot. And I have a schedule for him or for the bot. Here's a word of advice. If you give this thing a lot of information, it tries to please you. Okay? And then the memory can get a little, conversation can get long, and then it starts to hallucinate. This is their words. I'm hallucinating. Calls me boss. Hallucinating. I'm hallucinating, boss. And we went back and forth, and I was literally getting like, I don't want to use this thing anymore. It's messing up all the time. And then all I had to say to it one morning, I said, I don't get how you have protocols and you don't follow them. I don't understand. Can you create a skill? That was all I needed to do. So yesterday, it told me, yes, boss, I can create a skill specifically for your trading Discord. And will lock me down with protocols. And what it explained to me was, I was an eager, this is their words, I was an eager little intern. And whenever you got upset, I wanted to make you happy, but then I made more mistakes because I was trying to remember conversations that we had and then ignoring my protocols. And then it gave me the solution. It said, I'll write a skill for myself. And it gave a whole bunch of skills and templates for each piece of what I wanted to do. And now it said, I won't look at conversations anymore. I'll just go to the hard-coded stuff we have in place. And woof, this morning it already made a difference. So just, if anybody's going to use this bot and you want it to do something very specific, like me, I'm very specific what I want. You have to create a skill. Okay? It just can't work off conversation. So, that being said, let's go into it. All right, stock futures are under pressure this morning as investors digest Walmart earnings. They were down. However, they are up now. Well, are they down again? They're down again. Jesus. All right. The U.S. dollar is off its highs but remains firm at the Fed. Minutes revealed a non-rush stance on cuts, with several officials still open to hikes if inflation stays sticky. That's a little hawkish. In commodities, crude oil surging 2.85% as military escalation between the U.S. and Iran soaks supply disruption fears, fueling a 1.15 jump in XLE premarket. Gold is also catching safe haven bid. All our eyes are on today's heavy slate of Fed speakers, including Goolsbee and Bowman, for clarity on the rate path. Trump tracker, 9 a.m., participating in the board of a peace event. Okay, 1:50 p.m., visiting a local business. He's also doing a podcast interview at 2 p.m., I saw. Okay, but it's closed to the press. All right, 4 p.m. delivery remarks on the economy. That's at 4 p.m. That's when the market closes. Okay, economic calendar. This has already happened. These don't usually move markets that much. Initial jobless claims, they don't really move markets that much. Philly Fed, 10 a.m. Existing home sales might cause a little volatility at 10 a.m., but generally doesn't move markets. Fed speakers Goolsbee, Bowman, Cook, and Barkin throughout the day. Now, my expected weekly moves. Okay. Nothing's really touching expected moves. The only one that I have that came close was GE. GE came close to the upper part of its expected move. All right, let's get into the breath. Okay. So this is the bullish percent index. A very good overall indicator of the market's health. Okay, we'll start off with the bullish percent index of the NYSE. That's the New York Stock Exchange. Remember, 2,800 something stocks. Okay, it is 63.5% of, this is called 64%, is on buy signals. So bullish percent index means how much percent of something is on a buy signal according to a point and figure chart. Okay, point and figure charts, don't use time. Go look at into yourself, but it's a very good indicator. All right, the bullish percent index of the S&P 500, 63% are on buy signal. This market is not very weak. All right, remember, we went down because of tech, software. Now the NASDAQ, notice the little difference, 47% on buy signals. And then technology itself is at a 50%, so that improved. That was at 27% not too long ago. Now, The other breadth indicator is how much percent of the S&P 500 stocks are above their 50-day moving average. 66%. Like I said, software and technology took the beating. The rest of the market didn't. This is why our breath is not that bad. Doesn't smell bad. All right? This is why this market is crazy. And when I talk about my bot, it's also the reason why software went down. These AI assistants can replace whole departments. Okay? I mean, proof positive in what I'm doing with my Discord. I have to give it, hey, I want you to look at this site. I want you got to get really detailed. I don't want you, if you have nothing come back, I want you to do this. If this doesn't happen, I want you to do this. You do not post this without my approval. Get what I'm saying? Think about any job that somebody does. All you do is give those protocols, and it will do it. Okay? Scary, but wow. Like the stuff I'm doing, I wouldn't right now that it's doing for me, I would have to hire an assistant. And it does it like this. Boop. So pretty cool, okay, for myself. All right. Now, let's get into more stuff here. Are you going to do this to me now? Hold on a sec. Let me go into my and apologize for my sniffing. I have allergies, which I used to have bad every week, and now I only have them a couple times a year, but it's getting me today. So you're going to hear some sniffles. And I apologize for that. Alright, we're talking about news now. Just a little bit. Walmart stock dropped 2.9 after retail giant's current year income forecast missed expectations. But, like I just showed you before, it's kind of moving up and down. It's like flat right now. Okay? Carvana stock slumped 12%. John Deere gained 5%. Look like Etsy jumped 20%. eBay up 8.7%. So DoorDash stock surged 10%. Hims stock gained 6.4% after the U.S. telehealth platform said it will acquire Australian digital health company Eucalyptus. They got real bad by getting a lawsuit from Novo Nordisk, okay? Occidental Petroleum surged 4.7%. All right. Which is great. All right. That's it for the news because we covered it in my little bot gave us the rest of the moves there. So, we are going to move on to market internals. And those were very bullish yesterday. I mean, this is like, geez, all right? This is where it was like, all right, what the heck do I usually do here? And then when I was live, I kept on saying, I'm waiting for us pullback. I'm waiting for that pullback. I'm waiting. I want to show you now, because usually I get rid of these. This is why I give you guys the gamma flip points. Because the market played around with the SPX's monthly gamma flip point. See, it was just playing with it, playing with it, playing with it. And when it lost it, SPX went into negative gamma again. Okay? As well as the QQQ slipped into negative gamma. Show you right here. That's the monthly gamma flip point, 606. It broke it, came back under it. SPY was stayed above it. Now, I don't know what the gamma levels will be until I run my script at the market open. Okay, but back to internals. These numbers are beefy. These were at 3 and 3 at one point. 3 to 1 and 3 to 1. That just means the ratio of volume going into up stocks versus down stocks was a 3 to 1 at one point yesterday. Okay, with everything green. So to me, all pullbacks are viable, and it did. Right here, you had one pullback, it came up, another pullback came up, and then it just fell apart. Okay, and these internals at a plus 369 is very strong. You can see that the equal weight was definitely divergent and actually went negative. So that just meant the overall market was weaker than the market cap. Hence why this got a little weaker. Okay? Daily charts now. We'll go over why I said, I don't really like these daily charts for the long. I really don't. Okay? I just noticed something that I don't have on my charts that I should. I'm going to show you right now. Right here. I already see something I don't have on my charts, which I don't like, that I don't have it. I don't have the anchor VWAP for this year on my chart. I should always have that on my chart. There it is. Let me put that here. That is a boo-boo, because I should have saw that yesterday. Okay? Now that's on my chart. We hit the anchor VWAP of this year. Okay? Back to here. Now that's right here in my chart. Man, I wish I would have saw that yesterday. Okay? Even more of, I don't know about that. All right. Let's look at the SPY. What did we do? So look, we broke these two highs, right? That's last week's close. Now, we hit the 50, the 90 EMA daily, the 50, and hit the 20. Look at that 20-day moving average. And then we hit the week-to-date anchor, the year-to-date anchored VWAP. Boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy. And I said to myself yesterday, I like to call that like a spider web of moving averages. That doesn't bode the best to just keep going. And we didn't. What else did we have here? A daily supply. A daily supply zone. See that? And you nipped it. That's why I was like, I don't really like this move up. It's so bullish, though. Where are we now? 680. Let's call it 684. We're down at the lower third of the session. And this is very bearish. You came all the way up here, swept all that liquidity, closed back here. Now you're here. What this would signify to me, any longs here are pretty much in trouble right now. Okay? Let's look at futures. Okay? Look at that. You swept that liquidity. Okay? So, what did you hit? You didn't quite hit the 50 in futures. Hit the 90 EMA daily. But if this becomes a swing high, I would say we move down to at least yesterday's session lows. Alright? Now Qs. Q hit the 90 EMA daily. Also came into this daily supply, which I was mentioning on my channel, my Discord. This. See how I came into that daily supply? Gave it problems. Also, last month's lows. You swept the liquidity. Okay, where are we now? 603.30. Right there, the lower third of yesterday's session. Let's look at futures. Look, sweep, and you're here. I would say we at least I would expect to hit 2470s, 247s today. That is pretty much a look above a balance and a fail. And I'll show you that in the hourly charts. Okay? Now, can we stay in a mini range that I see? Possibly. Because this market is just schizophrenic right now. Let's get into hourlies. There's a lot to talk about here of what happened. Let me get my marker out. Okay. All right, let's go over to hourly charts. Okay, yesterday what I said was I thought the expected move, right, would be to the downside. Now, because of this sweep, it did happen pre-market. Look, it did happen. It came down, and look, it went right down to here, the most traded price of the week. That happened, I said, because of this sweep. But then we went into this demand zone and the most traded price of the week, and we ripped up. Where did we rip up to? The month-to-date anchored VWAP, and then we just got stuck here. Okay? Now I want to show you something. Remember I talked about this bearish FEG, this purple box. Look at that. It filled it up. But what does that signify? Is it took all of this poor structure of this candle and said, we're done. We're done. And what did it do? Swept right there. Those highs. Once you broke under these lows, it was woo all the way down to there. Not to the lows. Okay? And then you get a little reprieve in the overnights. What do? You get stuck right at the month-to-date anchored VWAP. And then what do? Take all of those longs out, break yesterday's lows. I'm sorry, break these lows. Okay? And now, in the macro picture, we're in a downtrend. Okay? We did break this downtrend here in an hourly chart. But now look, lower high, lower high, lower high. I would expect to go lower today. Now, like I said, there's core PCE tomorrow. We could stay in this little mini range today. I don't know. Okay, but if we break underneath the 6860s, the most traded price of the week, down here, because we do have a little poor structure here, you have to break that and hold it. It can go down. Okay, and what's important to note, this was our balance area. That liquidity sweep happened, right? That manipulation. It caused distribution. Now, but look though, if this was the balance highs, and you came up here, and you're not doing this, that's a look above and fail. And generally, the rule is you go back to the other side of balance. Because gravity is going to take over. Longs could not, this is called a test. Oh, we're testing outside this range. Can we make it? No. No. Okay? Now, what's your gauge on this? This swing low right there. That swing low has got to be secure. Right there, around the 68.61, which lines up with the most traded price of the week, right? So, what do you want to see is, right now, we just swept that liquidity, right? If this holds, then maybe we go into this range today, right? If this does this, and then we do this, well, we're probably going to go back and test this little mini range now. Okay, but if balance rules step in, and we do, like, see, we're trending lower, right? Now, let's say we do this, and then only this, you could really go and get ugly. Okay? I think we most likely move lower. Okay? This is a big failure to move higher. Okay? NASDAQ's not going to look too much different. Okay? It's exactly the same. Okay? Same thing. You had your balance. That's a big move up. You hit the month-to-date anchored VWAP. We know we hit the year-to-date anchored VWAP as well. Okay? Tried to move higher. That was your sweep. Came back into, that was last month's lows. Right? Bounced off the month-to-date with the most traded price of the month. Came back to the monthly lows again. Sold off. Okay? There's your swing low. 24750s. You want that not taken out if you want to get long. But now we're making the lower highs again, and that is your level. The two, what is it? The 249s need to break like that swing low, and then we'll go back down. You hold it, it's a long. But I would say that this is pretty bearish right now. This is pretty bearish. And remember, the market's going to do what we think it should do most times, like if I'm reading this. But then it will do it in the least obvious way possible. The least obvious way. Because that's how markets do it. Oh, we're going down. And then they come back. You're like, okay, it's over. And then it gets sold off, right? That's how it works. That's the hourly charts, folks. We're going to end it here with the market profile, volume profile. Let's get right into the ES. Let's look at the levels again. You can see we came all the way up here. Price is here now. Very key level here is that right there. You can't get any more key than this level. The 6860s. That's your yesterday's lows, the overnight lows. That becomes a confluence low. Okay? That's that swing low. You cannot break if you want to go long. Okay? Like right now, my bias is short. Okay? So, pretty simple here. Let's break the session out and we'll get right into scenarios. Okay. So, let's do scenarios. Okay. We're going to go with the short first. Okay. A couple ways here. Now, markets, like I say, always tend to try to trip you up. So we could do this, okay? Come back into this bearish for value gap right here. You don't take that swing high out. That could be the short. And then you can break the 6660s, which is the most traded price of the week. Look at all these longs that are there. It's gonna cause a very big momentum to the downside. And you should hit last week's lows, 6808s, or go for the 6791s or the 6780s. Okay, remember, balance rules. Okay, balance rules. Now, you could also go a little higher. I would not want this swing high taken out, but you could go into this supply, also get some problems, and roll over. Now, if we did this, push down, and you're like, oh man, missed it. You got to wait for the retest of 6860 to go lower. That's the shorts. Longs. Remember, this has got to be secure. So what you're going to look for is a bear trap. Okay? Just what I'm saying before. But let's say we do this. Oh my God. What the heck? And you recover the most traded price. And the internals are not that weak. That's a long. You go for the overnight highs. You go for yesterday's highs. Okay? Because then you would swept all this. But then you would go back above 6860. You got to be long. Okay? But remember, I'm leaning short. I'm open to this as long as the internals and everything else shows me that it's there. Okay. NASDAQ and NQ futures. Okay. Now, ultimate balance is coming into play. Remember yesterday I said, oh, the 24 hours are together right here, right? Let me change that. So this is ultimate balance around the 248s. But you have ultimate balance anyway. 249s is the most traded price of the month. Around the 24, let's just call it 248. Spot at 248 is the most traded price of the week. That is a lot of trading around that volume. That is ultimate balance. Big moves happen from ultimate balance. Probably why this move was so big up. But now price is in ultimate balance. Ooh, be careful in ultimate balance. Could be a chop zone. Could be a chop zone. So, same plan. Okay, same plan. We're going with shorts. Let's go to the scenarios. I'm going to open this up. Okay, actually had a poor high. That was not a tail there. That's another reason Ron was like, usually that you break that, but you didn't. So it's bullish. I mean bearish. Okay. Let's start off with scenarios. Okay. You have the 249 here, the most traded price of the month, with a bearish for value gap right above it. So what would I like to look for? Well, this area here is very heavily traded, so I want some type of sweep there to come back up into here. Try to resolve the 249s. Get a failure. Get a lower high. Now we hit the most traded price of the week. That's your 24780s. That also happens to be near yesterday's lows. I feel you take out yesterday's lows. You have a demand zone here. Not going to be easy, but if the market's weak, it will take it out. If you take that out, you'll probably get a little pullback here. You go down to last week's lows, 24578s, and that you can go down to 24449s. Okay? So, that's one. You can go a little up more. Up into this. There's also a bearish FEG right in here with supply. Okay, as long as you don't take out that swing high, you have another shot. Go underneath, same trajectory. Now, if you're conservative and you say, you know what, this Steve said this is ultimate balance, I don't know if I trust it. You want to see a break, then a retest of that 2477s if the market is weak to go lower. Now, longs, same as the ES, okay? Like I said, maybe we stay in this little baby range now. I don't know. But you want to look for some type of liquidity sweep. All right, so if I'm a long, come down, baby, right off the open, take out yesterday's lows. Maybe even test the 247s here and do one of these. Whoop! Retest that most traded price of the week, 2477s, and then try to move back up. It's not going to be easy, but once you get here, it should be a little easier to hit the overnight highs. Maybe you get to yesterday's highs. Like I said, I am leaning short, but I'm always open. You have to flow like water, okay, in the markets. Because I don't know what's going to be driving our markets when the market's open. I don't know. I never know. Okay? I never know. So that's it for my long. I'm being honest with you. That's a lot of heavy supply above. That is going to be tough sledding. We just said we tried to go higher. Bulls tried their hardest, but they failed. So my expectation would be for us to go lower today. I'm leaning on probabilities. That's what I'm leaning on. Okay? That's it for me, folks. With my sniffly nose. Okay? Hope you enjoyed that. All right? That analysis. Smash the like button if you did. That would be much appreciated. Okay? Now, hopefully you join me every morning. Subscribe. Set that alert. Give you the market story, the market news, technical analysis, and I just gave you the long and short trade scenarios in the NASDAQ and ES futures. All right? Now, if you want to join me, join my Discord, Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage. Click on the link. Sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. Okay? You get my free indicator there as well. My weekly expected move indicator with a little education at the top of the channel. You also get gamma levels, my flip points. They come out 9:40 a.m. All right? This week is OPEX. So Friday's expiration is the weekly and the monthly expiration. So I'm only giving monthly flip points this week in the SPY, QQQ, and SPX. Next week, we'll be back to weekly, will be white, and monthly. Because we'll have a new monthly expiration. Remember, in options, the third Friday of every month is the monthly expirations. Okay? So, everybody, have a great day. Remember, no trade to trade. Hope everybody has a green day. It always feels good to have a green day. Okay? Hope to see you in my Discord. If not, I'll see you here tomorrow morning.